In the heart of ancient texts, a story echoes through time. It's a story of courage, faith, and the triumph of the underdog. This is the story of David and Goliath. Passed down through generations, this epic narrative comes from the Bible. It's found in the book of Samuel, holding a prominent place in both Jewish and Christian traditions. The story's enduring appeal lies in its universality. It speaks to the human spirit, reminding us that even the seemingly weakest among us can overcome immense challenges. So let us journey back to ancient Israel and witness the unfolding of this timeless tale. Picture a vast, sun-drenched valley. This is the Valley of Elah, where our story takes place. The air is thick with tension. Two armies face each other, poised for battle. On one side stand the Israelites, God's chosen people, led by King Saul. Their armor gleams under the scorching sun, but fear lurks in their hearts. On the other side stand the Philistines, a fearsome enemy with a formidable champion in their ranks. The fate of the Israelites hangs in the balance. Far from the looming threat of war, in the tranquil fields of Bethlehem, a young shepherd boy tended his flock. His name was David, the youngest of Jesse's sons. David's days were filled with the rhythms of nature. He knew the gentle bleating of his sheep, the whisper of the wind through the olive trees, and the soothing melodies he played on his lyre. Little did he know that destiny had grand plans for him, plans that would take him far from the familiar pastures he called home. David's life was a stark contrast to the drama unfolding in the Valley of Elah. One day, while David tended his sheep, his father Jesse called for him. "David," he said, "take this food to your brothers and see how they fare in the camp of Israel." As David approached the Israelite camp, the sounds of war reached his ears. The clang of metal, the shouts of soldiers, the distant rumble of drums. He searched for his brothers among the assembled troops, his heart pounding with a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. The Philistine army stood arrayed in battle formation, their ranks teeming with fierce warriors, and before them, like a titan among men, stood their champion, Goliath. Goliath was a sight to behold, a giant among men. He stood over 9 feet tall, his armor gleaming like a mountain of bronze. He carried a massive spear, its shaft as thick as a weaver's beam, and a sword that glinted menacingly in the sunlight. Each day Goliath strode forth from the Philistine ranks and issued his challenge. His voice, like thunder echoing across the valley, boomed across the battlefield. "Choose a man to fight me," he roared. "If he is able to kill me, we will become your servants. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our servants." The Israelite soldiers cowered in fear. No one dared to answer the giant's challenge. David, witnessing this display of arrogance and the terror it instilled, felt a surge of indignation. For 40 long days, Goliath's taunts echoed across the Valley of Elah. Each morning, he emerged from the Philistine ranks, his booming voice a hammer blow against the Israelites' morale. "Choose a man to face me," he bellowed, his words echoing across the valley. The Israelite soldiers trembled at his words, fear constricting their hearts like a vice. King Saul, once a towering figure of strength, seemed to shrink before the giant's might. David, witnessing this daily spectacle of fear and inaction, felt a growing anger. "What will be given to the man who kills this Philistine?" he asked, "and takes away the reproach from Israel?" David's words, filled with youthful indignation, spread through the ranks like wildfire. Some soldiers chuckled at his audacity, others shook their heads at his naivete. Word reached Eliab, David's oldest brother, who turned on him with a furious glare. "Why have you come down here?" Eliab snarled, his voice laced with contempt. "And with whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know your pride and the insolence of your heart, for you have come down to see the battle." But David stood his ground. "Is there not a cause?" he retorted, his eyes flashing with resolve. Someone, impressed by the young shepherd's courage, reported David's defiant questions to King Saul. David stood before Saul, a stark contrast in their appearances. Saul, tall and battle-scarred, his shoulders heavy with the weight of responsibility. David, young and lean, his eyes bright with unwavering faith, his shepherd's staff clutched firmly in his hand. "You are but a youth," Saul observed, skepticism tinging his voice, and he, a man of war from his youth. David, undeterred, met the king's gaze with unwavering conviction. "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep," he replied, his voice calm and steady. "The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear," David continued, his voice ringing with conviction. "He will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine." Saul, moved by the young shepherd's unwavering faith, nodded slowly. Saul, impressed by David's spirit, offered him his own armor, a bronze helmet, a heavy coat of mail. David, unaccustomed to such cumbersome gear, politely declined. "I cannot go with these," he explained, "for I have not tested them." Instead, he bent down and picked up 5 smooth stones from the brook that flowed through the valley. These, along with his shepherd's sling, a weapon he knew intimately, would be his only defense against the giant. David, armed with his shepherd's tools and his unshakable faith, approached the battlefield. The two armies watched, their breaths held captive in their chests as the young shepherd boy walked confidently towards the Philistine champion. The fate of Israel, the fate of God's chosen people, rested on his slender shoulders. A hush fell over the valley as David approached Goliath. The air, thick with anticipation, seemed to crackle with unseen energy. The Israelite army, their faces etched with a mixture of hope and apprehension, watched their young champion draw nearer to the Philistine giant. David, his shepherd's staff in one hand and his sling in the other, moved with a grace that belied the gravity of the situation. Goliath, taken aback by the sight of the youthful David, let out a roar of laughter that echoed across the battlefield. "Am I a dog," he boomed, his voice thick with disdain, "that you come to me with sticks?" David, unfazed by the giant's mocking words or his imposing size, continued his steady approach. "You come to me with a sword and a spear and a javelin," David called out, his voice clear and strong, cutting through the tense silence. "But I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." Goliath, his face contorted in a mask of rage, roared in fury. He raised his massive spear, pointing it menacingly at David. "Come to me," he bellowed, "and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field." David, however, stood firm. This day, he declared, his voice ringing with unshakable faith, "The Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you down and cut off your head." His words, imbued with the power of his conviction, echoed across the battlefield. David, with the agility of a mountain goat, ran towards the giant, his sling already whirling in his hand. He reached into his pouch, his fingers closing around one of the smooth stones he had selected from the brook. Goliath, recovering from his momentary surprise, charged towards David, his massive form shaking the ground with each thunderous step. He raised his spear, intending to impale the approaching figure. Time seemed to slow. With a flick of his wrist, David released the stone from his sling. The stone found its mark with a sickening thud, sinking deep into Goliath's skull. Goliath, his eyes wide with surprise and pain, staggered. The mighty warrior who had once stood tall and invincible now found himself vulnerable and exposed. His breath came in ragged gasps as he tried to comprehend the sudden turn of events. The giant who had terrorized the armies of Israel, who had boasted of his invincibility, swayed for a moment, then crashed to the ground with the force of a felled oak. His fall was not just physical but symbolic, a testament to the end of an era of fear. The earth trembled with the impact. Dust rose in a thick cloud, momentarily obscuring the battlefield. The tremor was felt by all, a physical manifestation of the seismic shift in power. Silence descended upon the valley. The once chaotic battlefield was now eerily quiet, as if the land itself was holding its breath, absorbing the magnitude of what had just occurred. The Philistines, witnessing the impossible, their invincible champion felled by a shepherd boy with a sling, were paralyzed with fear and disbelief. Their confidence shattered. They stood frozen, unable to process the reality before them. David, breathing heavily, approached the fallen giant. His heart pounded in his chest, not from fear, but from the adrenaline of victory. Each step he took was deliberate, filled with the weight of his newfound destiny. He drew Goliath's own sword from its scabbard and with a swift, sure stroke cut off the giant's head. The act was both a final blow to the Philistines and a powerful symbol of triumph. He held it aloft for both armies to see, a testament to the power of faith and the courage that dwells in the heart of the most unassuming. The sight of the severed head sent a clear message: even the mightiest can fall. The Israelite army, their spirits reignited, erupted in a roar of victory. Their cheers echoed through the valley, a sound of collective relief and newfound hope. They surged forward, their fear replaced by a newfound confidence, and routed the demoralized Philistine army. The tables had turned and the hunters had become the hunted, as the Israelites chased their enemies from the battlefield. The echoes of David's victory reverberated throughout the valley of Elah and far beyond. The news spread like wildfire, carried on the wind to every corner of Israel. The young shepherd who'd faced down a giant armed with nothing but a sling and his unwavering faith became an instant hero, a symbol of courage and divine favor. The people hailed David as a conquering hero, their hearts filled with gratitude and newfound hope. He had single-handedly vanquished the Philistine threat, lifting the shadow of fear that had hung over them for so long. Songs were composed in his honor, recounting his bravery and celebrating his triumph. Saul, witnessing the adulation showered upon David, felt a mixture of admiration and unease. David, the shepherd boy who had dared to face a giant, had become a legend, his name forever etched in the annals of history. Section 2, A Simple Faith, A Timeless Message. David's victory over Goliath is more than a tale of military prowess. It's a testament to the power of faith. This story, passed down through generations, continues to inspire countless individuals who face their own giants in life. David, facing a seemingly insurmountable foe, didn't rely on his own strength or cunning, but placed his trust in the God of Israel. His unwavering belief was his greatest weapon, a force more powerful than any sword or shield. He knew that with God on his side, even a shepherd boy could defeat a giant. This conviction was not born out of naivety, but from a profound understanding of his faith and its potential. His faith was not a blind leap into the unknown, but a deep-seated conviction rooted in his personal experiences. Each encounter with danger had only strengthened his resolve and trust in divine protection. He had faced down lions and bears while protecting his flock, knowing that God's hand had delivered him from danger. These experiences were not just physical battles, but spiritual lessons that fortified his faith. That same faith emboldened him to face Goliath, knowing that the God who had protected him in the past would not forsake him in his hour of need. His courage was a reflection of his trust in a higher power. David's story carries a timeless message, a message that transcends time and culture. It speaks to the heart of human experience, reminding us of the power of faith and the strength it can provide in our darkest moments. It reminds us that true courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it, trusting in something greater than ourselves. This lesson is as relevant today as it was in ancient times. It reminds us that faith, even as small as a mustard seed, can move mountains and achieve the impossible. This simple yet profound truth continues to inspire and guide those who dare to believe. Section 3, The Enduring Legacy. The story of David and Goliath continues to resonate with audiences thousands of years after it was first told. This timeless tale of bravery and faith has transcended generations, cultures, and borders, becoming a universal symbol of overcoming the odds. It's a story that has been passed down through generations, inspiring countless individuals facing their own giants, their own seemingly insurmountable challenges. From ancient storytellers to modern-day parents, the narrative has been a beacon of hope and resilience. We see echoes of David's courage in the lives of those who stand up for what they believe in, whether they are fighting for social justice, standing up against bullying, or striving to achieve personal goals, even when facing overwhelming opposition. The spirit of David lives on in every act of bravery, no matter how small or large. We see it in the lives of those who challenge injustice, fight for equality, and work tirelessly to bring about positive change in their communities and beyond, and strive to make the world a better place. These modern-day Davids remind us that courage and determination can indeed move mountains. David's story reminds us that we all possess an inner strength, a reservoir of courage and determination that we can tap into when facing adversity. This inner strength is what propels us forward, even when the path seems daunting. A reservoir of courage and determination that we can tap into when facing adversity. It is this inner wellspring that fuels our perseverance and resilience. It encourages us to confront our fears, to face the unknown with a brave heart, and to take that leap of faith. To step out in faith, knowing that the journey, though fraught with challenges, is also filled with opportunities for growth and transformation. Knowing that with God's help we can overcome any obstacle. This divine assurance gives us the confidence to face life's battles head-on. The legacy of David, the shepherd boy who became a king, is a testament to the enduring power of faith, courage, and the belief that even the smallest among us can achieve extraordinary things. Is a testament to the enduring power of faith, courage, and the belief that even the smallest among us can achieve extraordinary things. His journey from a humble shepherd to a revered king is a powerful reminder of what is possible, and the belief that even the smallest among us can achieve extraordinary things. His story continues to inspire, challenge, and uplift us. His story continues to inspire, challenge, and uplift us, reminding us that with God, all things are possible. Challenge and uplift us, reminding us that with God, all things are possible. The tale of David and Goliath is more than just a story. It is a timeless lesson in faith, courage, and the power of the human spirit, reminding us that with God, all things are possible. It is a beacon of hope that continues to shine brightly, guiding us through the darkest of time.